All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all having a great Monday so far. Welcome to our iLearnNYC Brightspace Content Development Series. This is one of various sessions you'll be participating in to learn the iLearn tools and how to create your course homepage. In today's session, we are going to be focusing on how to communicate with students using the iLearn tools. These will be your presenters today. I am Jeannie Chun on your right, and in a few minutes you'll meet Jennifer Koo. We are both full-time remote teachers with iLearnNYC. We both teach high school. Jen teaches AP Psychology and I teach health education. We've been using the iLearn platform for the entire year, and we also use the iLearn platform to teach live synchronously. So we'll be showing you examples from our courses as we go through the sessions. Some community agreements to get us started for this webinar. You'll notice in Zoom there are a few places where you can communicate with us as the presenters. You'll also notice there are other panelists here from iLearn, and we ask that you only use the Zoom question and answer box for questions related to this session and the topic being presented. If there are unrelated questions, we may dismiss them. It does not mean that we are ignoring your question. It just means that we'll address those unrelated questions during office hours or in other resources, which we'll show you at the end of the session. You'll notice also there's a Zoom chat that is open just for you to contact us, the panelists. I will not be monitoring the Zoom chat or responding in the Zoom chat during the speaking portion. So while I'm talking, I'm not going to be responding to you in the Zoom chat. However, there will be times during Tinker Time where you're playing with your course or building into your course. There'll be some quiet time for us, either the presenters or panelists, to respond to you either in the chat or in the question and answer box. Okay. And this session will be recorded. It will be made available to you for future reference. All right, so what are you going to be learning in today's first session? As I mentioned, the focus today is to learn the tools to communicate with students. So we're going to be looking at the announcement tool and the activity feed today. And some of the objectives are we are going to learn to communicate using those tools. We are going to distinguish the difference between the two, the announcement tool and the activity feed, and when to use them effectively. We'll determine what messages you want to communicate to your class when students log on to your course homepage. So we're basically working from that course homepage, and we'll ask you to consider what you want students to see when they first land on your course homepage. What messages do you want to communicate to them? The main tools you'll be learning today from the course homepage are the announcements and the activity feed, and we'll also show you how to insert videos. For today's session and tomorrow's session, we are going to be using this Welcome Back to School theme. So the goal of the session today is to utilize the communication tools on the homepage to welcome your students to class. So by the end of today's session, you should have some basic components on the course homepage that you can use on the first day of class and during the first couple days of class. The format of this webinar is we will be using these PowerPoint slides. We'll show some examples or samples from a course homepage. We are going to demonstrate how to use each tool, and then we're going to give you quiet time to create into your own course during Tinker Time. And during that time, we'll be able to address any specific questions as well. So if all of this sounds a bit overwhelming or intimidating, no need to worry. You don't need to learn everything in one day. We recommend that you choose one new thing to try each week. And for sure, this is a learning curve for everyone. teachers, students, parents, administrators, and we really appreciate you taking your time to learn something new so that you can enhance your teaching practice and to support the success of your students. We are really excited to share this opportunity with you. We as remote teachers have been using the iLearn platform, like I said, for the whole year, but we also are still learning, and we really enjoy and appreciate this collaborative interaction. And we look forward to hearing from you on how you're going to bring your classroom experience to life in this virtual environment. We are in this all together. So now we are going to sign into that iLearn page in order to access the course that you're going to be building into. So at this point, I'm going to use 2 windows, and I'm just going to make this one smaller and move this PowerPoint slide into the left side of my screen. And I'm going to show it to you first, and you can decide if you want to set up your window this way as well. So I'm going to open another window. So from Chrome, I'm going to go to the top right corner, click the 3 dots, and click New Window. I'm going to drag this second window to the right side of my screen. And on this side, I'm going to log into iLearnNYC.net. So I recommend for you to do the same with your screen. You can pull the Zoom window into the left side of your screen and then open up a new window where you can open iLearn. Okay, from here, you're going to log into your course. So from iLearnNYC.net, you scroll all the way to the bottom to sign in. When you click sign in, you're going to use your Outlook username only and your password, so you don't want to use your whole email, okay? Many of you may be signed in already if you attended the morning session today, the introduction. So you'll click sign in, and you'll see here username, right? No email address, just your username and your password. So I'm going to give us a few minutes to get logged in. I'm going to pause for a couple moments. Go ahead and log into iLearn. And we'll pause right here where you come to this teacher landing page. Okay, so just a few moments for everyone to log in. All right, so once you're logged in, the way you're going to find the course that we're practicing in today is to access the Sandbox. The Sandbox is the place where we're going to be tinkering and playing and creating and moving things around and just kind of learning how to use iLearn. So what you're going to do is go to that iLearn page, and then at the top you'll see there's an icon that looks like a waffle. That waffle is called the Course Selector. So I'm going to go through this very clearly because I know there's going to be questions about it later. When you click the Course Selector, you'll see there should be at least 1 or 2 courses in your list. My list looks a little bit different from yours, so if you can just refer to my screen for just a moment, I'm going to show you what everything is. If you attended this morning's session, you may have learned how to pin your course, which is the one with your name on it. Okay, so it's going to have your name, might say Sandbox, might have a number, it should say your name Sandbox. So for example, I'm Jchun4, and then this is my Sandbox, Jchun4 Sandbox. So what you're going to do is click on the one that has your name on it. I am going to click on a different one to show you the demo, so don't be confused. We are right now in cohort 204. This is a shared Sandbox. We have the examples here for you to refer to, but just know that you want to build into your own Sandbox so that all your stuff saves and you can tinker around with it. Again, I'm going to show from a different one just as a sample for today. Okay, so you click the one with your name on it. I'm going to click a different one. Okay, so now what? This is your iLearn course homepage. So you'll see here that the first thing you see in the course is the announcements, right? So for today, as I mentioned, we're working on tools to communicate with students, focusing on announcements and activity feed. If you look at the right side of my screen, again, announcements is right at the top, and I'm just gonna briefly scroll through so we know what we're looking at, right? Announcements. We've built some examples into our shared sandbox that Jen's gonna show you a little bit later, right? So an announcement could be a video, it could be an image, and then at the bottom of that homepage, you'll see a section called activity feed. Looks a little bit different, kind of like a simplified view. Okay, and don't worry if your particular sandbox looks different. Again, this is just the one we're showing in the demo, and we're going to show you how to create all of these things. So I want to spend a few moments on comparing the announcements and activity feed. What is the difference between the two? We know that the two can be used to communicate with your students. If you look at announcements, and I'm just going to scroll on this right side to Jen's example, which she'll show you in detail in a couple of minutes. Announcements are teacher to student only. So that means you as the teacher can post things like important announcements, due dates. Here Jen has, and she's going to show you, you can post a video to welcome your students back. You can post messages like a happy birthday to someone. The announcements tool also links to course content, such as assignments. We're not going to go into assignments in detail today. You will learn more about creating assignments later this week. Announcements can also be used as a daily or weekly agenda. So you can potentially use this section to write what tasks or that you want students to complete. Let's look then at activity feeds. So I'm going to scroll to the bottom of this page where we have activity feed. And as you can see, it's a much more simplified view, right? Really easy for beginners to get started. It's a little more informal. It has this familiar social media-like feel. So you'll notice it looks a little bit kind of like a Facebook post, right? Where you have some text, maybe a picture, and then people can comment. So one of the really special things about activity feed is that you as the teacher can allow students to post comments. So if you were doing a discussion forum, for example, if you want students to respond to a question, you can allow students to comment. Students can only comment on something you've created, so you have the control. And if you decide that you only want to post a message to students for them to see and not respond to, you have that option as well. So one thing I want you to bear in mind throughout the session is there are similarities between the two features that we're showing you today. Think about what you want to use them for, and we're going to give you some examples as we go along. All right? So now I'm going to turn it over to my partner, Jen, who's going to teach you what announcements are and how to create them.
All right, thank you so much, Jeannie. And so we're going to take a quick look at announcements. So announcements are for teacher to student use only, and obviously inserting videos, we can embed, we can reorder. So I'm going to show you a little bit of how to do all of that today, okay? So before we talk about announcements, let's take a look and see examples of what an announcement can look like, all right? So if you want to follow along, I would just split the screen and I would have the Zoom on one side, and then you can open up your Sandbox on the other side. If you need to see how to do that again, you click on this little waffle. There'll be a drop down to show the courses, and you'll be looking for the one with your name on it. All right. So I'll give you a few seconds to take a look at your name and make sure you're in your Sandbox and set it up so that you can follow along as we are going through the announcements. So if you're in your screen, you'll be looking at your home page right here. If you take a look, here are your announcements, and then a little bit below it will be your activity feed, all right? So let's just take a look at how an announcement can look like when you set it up. So the first type of announcement is called a video note. And the way I would use a video note is if you're doing your morning routines with your calendar and weather, it might be a great idea to film it, put up the video note, and underneath it, you can have the link to your lesson. That way students can just go straight from your morning routine straight into the lesson. So let's take a look at our video. Oh, just a side note, I am a high school teacher, but I do have a 4-year-old, so I borrowed his calendar and weather chart and tried to pretend I was an elementary school teacher.
Hi students, welcome back to class today. Today is August 10th. Let's count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great job counting with me. Can you take a look outside and see what the weather looks like today? Is it sunny? Today is sunny, and we'll put that into our weather chart. Stay tuned, and we'll take a look at our lesson today.
All right, and that's just a little sample of what you can do with your video notes. You're also able to upload a video that you've created yourself if you don't want to upload a live video like I did. Okay, so that's the first option of what an announcement can look like. The second one is a happy birthday message. Maybe you want to share with the class. All right, so you want to shout out John, happy birthday, John. And here I have just the text itself, and I copied an image. John likes soccer, so I decided that it should be a little soccer ball here. The third type of announcement can be a little warm-up. So for example, this lesson is about counting how many items the hungry caterpillar ate. So we're doing addition and things like that, and I want students to have read the book before we get into our lesson as a little warm-up. So an option here is to have a YouTube video. I can insert that.
The very hungry caterpillar.
And this might just be an option of having it here versus me reading the book. I've seen a lot of, my son's teacher included, she reads the book to him and she records the video. So that's another option of what you can do. So it's a little sample of what you can do with announcements. So here is the announcement section. So let's take a look and see how we create an announcement, okay? So the first thing you're going to do is you're gonna look for this announcement button. Okay, I'll give you a second to take a look on your page. Do you see the announcement button? And now what I want you to do is click the drop down and you're going to click New Announcement. And that's going to take us to the next screen. That's where we can create our announcements. And so here we are on the screen to create the announcements. The first thing you're going to notice is the headline, all right? So you're gonna have to write a headline here. It will be the headline for your announcement. So stay on this page, don't move. I'm gonna go back and show you what the headline looks like, okay? So I'm just gonna write here, testing. Okay, and then I'm just gonna fill in testing over here. So in order to go back and take a look at the home page again, I click up here. So again, you should be an announcement. I'm just showing you what it would look like. Here's my headline, all right? So you wanna think about what the headline looks like. It'll appear here. So my headline here was August 10th. Happy birthday, John. Counting with the hungry caterpillar, right? So whatever you kind of want to do, I'm going to dismiss this. You can add the headline. Just give my computer a second. I'm just going to refresh it. New announcement. So for my headline, I'm going to write, welcome to Mrs. Koo's pre-K class. And there you have it. The headline's done. Now it's time to add some content. We're going to take a look at 5 basic types of content that you can add. The first one is to write a message. The second one is the video note. Third one is to add a link. Fourth is upload a file. And then the fifth is adding an image with copy and paste. Right? So the simplest thing to do is to write a message. So I'm going to write, welcome. Actually, let me change that. Hello, students, and welcome to pre-K. I am your teacher, Mrs. Koo. Now you're going to have a few options here to customize and change that. I'm going to highlight it. So the first thing is you can bold it. You can italicize. You can underline. You can indent. Bullet points. If you click the drop-down bar here, you can number it. And you can change the alignment. So let's say I want it to say number 1, hello and welcome to pre-K. And then number 2, I'm going to press enter. Return. And there we go. I can also change the font. The font size. I'm going to make this really big because I want students to see it. And I have the ability to change color. Let's pick purple. I like purple. All right, and there we go. We have the text. So that's the first thing you want to do in announcement is customizing your text and writing a text for your students. Okay. So let's take a look at the next one. We're going to do video note. I always like to write a little text first before I have a video note, just so students know what they should be doing. For this, I'm going to change my font, and change the size, make it a little bit smaller, and I'll go back to black. And here's a video note. Please watch my video. And I'm just going to take all these off. All right. In order to create the video, we're going to use this button. It's called Insert Stuff. Looks like the YouTube play button, right? So what you want to do is click on this Insert Stuff, the play button. Okay. And then you're going to see all the things you can insert. Files from your computer, ePortfolio, we'll talk about that a little bit on Thursday. You can insert link, you can embed codes. But for this, we're going to add a video note. All right. And there are a few options within video note, and I'll show you. So here is video note. All right, hi everyone. Okay, let me section off that better. There we go. So here in video note, you are able to record live. Hi students, welcome to my pre-K class.
Hi students, welcome to my pre-K class.
All right, I'm gonna click next. I'm gonna title it Intro. So it's gonna take a few seconds because it's being formatted and it's being transformed, and then it'll show up in a little bit. So that's all I had to do to record a live video. Sometimes you might want to have a pre-recorded video, one that you've already completed on your computer. So it's the same steps. You're gonna go to that little play button, insert stuff. You're gonna add a video note. And this time, I'm gonna upload a file. All right. So here I already have an introduction that I pre-recorded. Just gonna upload that. And if you have any questions, the Q&A on the bottom is where you can type them. If we're going too fast, if you want to see something again, feel free to click on that button. All right, so title is Mrs. Ku's intro. And I'm going to insert it now. All right, great. So I have my video done, video notes done. I recorded one and I uploaded a pre-recorded one. What else can I do with announcements? All right. Well, another type of announcement is to add a link. So here, I'm going to type YouTube, add a link. And maybe my message to students will be, please watch the video. I'm gonna go back into that little play button, insert stuff. And this time you're going to insert a link. So I'm gonna grab my YouTube link. And I'm going to paste that URL in. And this is what's gonna come up. I chose Hello Song. And there you're gonna see it embedded right here into your announcement. It's gonna look really nice so students don't have to click on like an external link and leave the page to watch it. It's all here in iLearn and it's kept on their homepage. All right, next I'm going to upload a file. I'm gonna call it a profile picture. So maybe I want on my announcements for my first day, a little picture for my students to see me and to see who I am. This time I'm gonna click on this camera button called Insert Image. And I can insert images with URLs or I can take them from my computer that I've already saved. And in this case, I'm gonna use one from my computer. You have two options. You can drag it in and drop it here, or you can upload and look for the picture. Here we go. And I'm gonna add it. Put a little text. And you also have the ability, this picture looks way too big, so I'm gonna shrink it down a little bit. I'm just gonna bring down the size of that picture. Okay, looks good. And there you go, you've uploaded a file. It could look different. Maybe you want to upload a piece of text. It doesn't always have to be a picture in this case. So again, that was the little camera. You insert the image, and grab a file from your computer. Last one is the easiest way to add an image is copy and paste. Okay. So I found a little cute picture I liked, welcome back to school. I'm just gonna copy it and just paste it right in. It's another great option. And there you have it. You have all the items that we've created together with your announcement. Few other things to bring up. Next one is this little button here, and it's called Insert Quick Links, right? What you can do with quick links is you can link it up to other sections. So for example, maybe I have a document in Google Drive. I can go into my Drive and link something straight from my Drive to this announcement page. Or I can link it to an assignment. So maybe after watching The Hungry Caterpillar, students go straight into the assignment. Or I can link it, so assignments will be a later lesson. So in that session, you'll learn about it, and it might be a great bridge with announcements to link that to assignments. Tomorrow, we're going to learn about content building, okay? And we can talk about how you can link up content you've already created to your announcements. So it could be where the student watches your morning routine, and then you link it underneath it to your lesson. So straight from morning routine into the lesson. This way students don't have to click around. This is especially useful for younger kids. Okay. Some other tools here is insert symbols, and that's for math teachers. If they might need some symbols in here to insert. And also here is a table, all right? So you can create tables within here, and you can create text, and you can, the way I used it in high school is we have nightly readings. So I wanted certain pages read every single night, and I didn't want to keep writing announcements after announcements after announcements. So I would have the entire unit and all the dates listed on these tables for my students. Another way it could look is if you had all your students named here and maybe the message that you wanted them to have on the other side. So different methods and uses of these tables. Down here, a few more buttons. Here is your check spelling. This button is to check your accessibility. So if students can view it, if they're accessible to them. Here is your HTML source editor. It's for you to embed codes and anything else you want to add. And here is a preview. You can click on that. And as you can see, my videos have popped up. Okay. So here's a little preview. And then finally, the last one here is to go into full screen mode. All right, so we're pretty much done talking about the HTML editor and all the features that it can provide you. Let's talk about how to publish our announcement. So the first thing we have here is a start date, all right? So maybe I created the announcement, but I don't want students to see it yet, all right? Obviously, today is August 10th. I don't want students to see this announcement till September, so I can change the date. I can also change the time. There's also an option for an end date, meaning the announcement will end on this date. Otherwise, the announcements live on forever. The only time I've ever used the end date is with extra credit. So I usually don't want kids to keep thinking there's extra credit forever. I'll mark an end date and it'll disappear at that time. Down here, we have attachments. And here you can add files, record audio, and record video, but I really like it when it's embedded here. I want students to see it right away. I don't want them to see a link and then have to mess around and click a link. That's why I like the YouTube videos pretty much inserted straight into the announcements instead of clicking on a link and then going to the YouTube site. I want them to see everything here. Finally, release conditions. We will talk about those in a little bit in a later session, but what we can do with release conditions are maybe if a student finished their assignment early, they can get an announcement, maybe something that congratulates them and tells them, congrats, you're done, or tells them what the next assignment will be. All right, so we will talk more about this in future sessions. If you're happy with what this all looks like, you have two options here. You can save as a draft, come back and work on it, or in our case, we're going to publish. There we go. All right, and here is the announcement tool. Once you publish it, all your announcements are going to live inside your announcement tool, right? It's really important to note, whichever announcement you publish last will be on top, okay? So meaning the one I just created, it's gonna show up first, and all the other ones from before are going to be pushed down to the bottom. If I don't want this to happen, I can change the order. So I'm gonna go to more actions, and I can reorder this. Okay, so maybe I wanted something else on top, testing. Let's put that on, back on top. I'll make it number 1. And then testing will be back on top. Okay. Now, what I think is the most important button here is the edit button. All right, so let's go and take a look what it looks like, your homepage. Go back to it, click it on top. Sorry, I think that happened a little fast. When you go to your homepage, you go scroll all the way to the top. Mine says cohort 204. It should say your name up here. When you click on it, it takes you back to the homepage. Okay, and here we go. Here's my announcement. Now let's say, I took a look. I don't really like how this font looks like. All you have to do is click right here on this specific announcement, not this button up here. This will create new ones. This is your announcement tool. Here is just editing this specific announcement. I can edit it here right away. Okay, I don't like this font. I don't want to change everything about it. Let's get rid of these bullet points. And I changed my mind. I want blue now. And here we go. We're going to update it. Looks better to me. Maybe I'll make it aligned in the center. Okay. All right, I like that better. All right, so I'm going to update it. And I'm going to go back on my home page. And here we go. There it is. Now, eventually, when you have an announcement every single day, you're going to have 100 announcements here, all right? And for my students, I just let the announcements keep rolling. They never had an issue with it. But for some of you, you might want to decide to dismiss announcements. So you have the option here to dismiss an announcement. You click this little X button, all right? And what it does is it won't delete it, all right? It's just going to dismiss it. It'll still live on in your toolbox, right? So let's go ahead and just dismiss that. It takes a second to do that. And then if I want to bring it back, I'm going to go to my announcement tools. You'll see here I dismissed it and dismiss that one too. I'm going to just click restore. And up here, bring it right back. And that's pretty much it for our announcements. Go ahead and create an announcement, create a welcome for your students. You can add a link, maybe upload your profile picture. You can create a video, a few pieces of text. You can add a maybe welcome back image. Basically, it's a learning process, so don't feel like anything you do will break iLearn. That's what I was always afraid of the first time. There's nothing that you can go wrong. If you need to, you can always come back and edit it. All right. So we are going to have about 5 minutes of tinker time here. So go ahead, you can write a message, you can add a note. And we are here in the Q&A to answer any questions. Maybe you want to see something done one more time. Maybe you weren't sure what button I clicked to get to something. Feel free to just use this tinker time to work on your announcement. So Teresa, you asked, can you go over the quick links again, how to put all the materials together? Can you maybe give me a specific example? What exactly would you want to be putting together? Would it be a YouTube link or an image or a video note? That way I can address that question more specifically if you want to just retype it for us. And Sherry, you asked about Google Slides. All right, so let me show you how you can create the Google Slides again. So I'm going to go right here, go back to new announcements. Okay. And you're going to insert quick links, and they'll take you to your Google Drive. All right, so continue, log into Google account. And here I can kind of select any of the files within my Google account that I need, and then bring it back out. So I hope that answers that question. So Sherry, I'm rereading your question. Can you add Google Slides? And the answer is yes. We're going to show you tomorrow how to add the Google Slides. You want to add that in your content, all right? Not really so much here in announcement. Announcements are like, you know, what you would write on the board in class for your basic announcements to the class, whereas content is where we're going to want to import in all of our Google documents, our slides, our sheets, our forms, all of that stuff. I hope that answers the question. And that will be tomorrow. So Phyllis, I see your question. I can't get on to write a message, and I'm assuming the message is in new announcement. Maybe if you can tell us a little bit where you are and then we can use that as a start point. All right, so that was a time for 5 minutes to work on our announcement. If you have any more questions, I'm here in the Q&A and I can definitely answer any questions while Jeannie is going on with the presentation. Diane, you wrote, do you need to have your links saved beforehand? Absolutely not. So usually I would be working on YouTube right here. And then from there, I would grab the link and then just copy and paste it in. So you don't need to have the link saved before. I did it on a Word document just so it's easier. So I wouldn't be fumbling around, but usually I have those links open and a million tabs open. All right, Jeannie, I'm all done. If you want to talk about the activity feed.
Hi, everyone. All right. Now that you've seen how announcements work, I'm going to show you activity feed. So in many ways, announcements and activity feed have similar features, but you'll notice that activity feed is a little bit simpler. So on the right side of my screen, I'm going to show you how to get to the activity feed section. So from the top of the page, you're going to scroll all the way down past the announcement section. So again, these are all the examples you saw. You're going to scroll down to activity feed. And again, I'm showing this in my Sandbox, so you're not going to see the same thing, but I definitely will give you time to create into your own. So let's take a look at this example together before you work in your own course. So again, this activity feed looks a little bit like a social media post or a discussion forum. Very, very simple. So one of the things I asked you to think about is whether you're going to be using announcements or activity feed or both, and what you're going to be doing with it. What do you want students to do? So for activity feed, if it is just a quote unquote announcement, you can potentially send a message to students. Or one of the special features about activity feed is that students can respond. They can't respond to announcements, but they can respond in this activity feed. So for example, if you want students to engage in some type of discussion, this tool is a really useful place to be. So I taught advisory for many years, and I always use some type of question of the day or a check-in question. And for those of you that do similar things or maybe teach social emotional learning lessons, you might have a similar question of the day or check-in discussion with your students. So this is the example that I'm going to show you. If you look at the right side of my screen here, I posted a question of the day. What do you think it means to be a rainbow in someone's cloud? And I showed a picture here, something nice, easy, colorful for elementary school students, this rainbow image, right? And as you can see, I posted 2 comments so you can see what it looks like when it's responded to. I posted 2 comments, so you as the teacher, when students respond, you can click the caret and then it shows responses, right? It means to bring color to them, or it means to help someone if they're feeling sad. So you can see here again, this looks like very simple. The great thing about the activity feed is that you can allow students to post. You can turn this off or turn it on, and students can only respond to posts that you started. So now I'm going to maximize this window, and I'm going to show us how to create an activity feed post. So I'm going to go to this section again. It's at the bottom of your page, and I'll show it to you first. You can follow along, and then you'll have time to do it on your own. So from activity feed, I'm going to click this blue plus sign to create a post. You'll notice it gives you 2 options here, message or assignment. You can, in this activity feed, create an assignment. That's one of the nice features about activity feed. We are not going to talk about assignments today, but you will learn about assignments later in the week. So for right now, we are going to work on an activity feed message. So I'm going to stick with that question of the day and this back to school theme that we've been working with. So let's say I want students to do a daily question of the day. And one of the things I normally do in advisory, for example, when students come back in September during the first couple days of school, is I have them share something that they did over the summer, something they knew they learned or something fun that they did. Okay, so question of the day, I'm going to type this summer, something new I learned was, and what I liked about learning this was. Okay, so for elementary students, I would not have that open-ended question that I might use for high school, but maybe a sentence starter and a blank to fill in, for example. Okay, so this in itself is enough to post as a message post, right? You could just do some lines as text and then click post. Okay, but I'm going to show you how to add to it and make it a little bit prettier. So Jen went over in announcements the HTML editor and how to change the color, change the font, etc. There are some of those features here, but it's simplified. So one thing I could do is I could, for example, bold that. Okay, there are some emojis you can add as well, so it looks again a little bit like a Facebook post or comment. Okay, so let's say I want students to see something along with this text. I'm going to attach a file or video now. So I'm going to go down here to the bottom corner of this and click attach. Okay, you'll notice icons similar to what you saw in announcements in the HTML editor. This first one here is file upload. So if you wanted to post a picture like this rainbow that I showed at the bottom, you can upload it directly from your computer or somewhere on the web. I'm going to show you now how to post a video. So I'm going to go to this third icon, which is attach web link. When I click attach web link, a box is going to pop up and you'll see I can insert directly a URL and then title it. So for this back to school question of the day, I found this brain pop video that I pulled from YouTube on going back to school. Okay, so I'm going to pull that link, copy that link into the URL, and I'm going to title the video so students know what they're looking at. I'll call it back to school. Very simple. So link, then title. Then I click insert. So now you can see, in addition to the text that I just typed, I've attached a video for students to watch. Okay. So now that I'm thinking about it, I might think, oh, maybe I want to add instructions for students so they know what to do with the video. So I can go back to the message because I haven't posted it yet and write instructions like watch this mini movie and answer the question of the day. Okay, and maybe this bold doesn't make sense now, so I can change that. I'm going to unbold it. Maybe I want to highlight what I want students to do. So they're going to watch something, answer something, for example. Okay, maybe I don't want that. Maybe I want bold instead, right? So you can choose options like that. Okay, so we have instructions and then the video. You'll notice here there's a box that says allow comments. So this is that interactive feature for students that I talked about. If I uncheck the box, the post is going to be just for students to see, but they can't respond to it. So this could be used if you want to send an important message to students for them to see, maybe a due date or a holiday or something like that, right? But if I want to use it in this discussion forum type task, I can check allow comments and then students can respond there. Okay, so I'm going to leave that checked for now. And then at the bottom right corner, you'll see you have two options to either post now or post later. So I'm going to show post later just so you know what it looks like. And this is really similar to what Jen showed you in announcements where you can schedule announcements. So let's say I want students to answer a question of the day every day at 10 a.m. So I potentially could set that up and then just schedule a time for it to post. Schedule post, for example. Okay. I'm just going to cancel that because I want to post this one right now. So I'm going to click post, and then you can see I have a new latest post at the top of my feed, the text, the instructions, and the video. So what's really nice about this is that students can watch this video directly on the iLearn page. They don't have to go anywhere else. They don't need, various clicks to do something. It's all right here in one place. So for this particular one, what I'm going to do too is I want students to know how to answer the question, right? So they're watching and then they're answering. So I'm going to model what I want them to do. I want them to actually type out the sentence, the whole sentence. So I'm going to write, this summer, something new I learned was how to ride a bicycle. And then second part, what I liked about learning this was I got to play outside in my backyard with my brother. Okay, so you'll see here as an example of a post that when students respond to this post, that it's just text. There are other places in the iLearn course where students can upload files like documents and images. And we'll talk more about that in later sessions. But this activity feed is a basic way for students to respond to a message. Okay, so I'm going to click post, and then that's what it looks like. So I've showed you this video before I showed you the image. And so now that I have more than one post in the activity feed, I'm going to show you how to reorder things. So very similar to how you saw in announcements. Let's say you have various questions of the day, and there's one particular one you want to highlight. Okay, so I'll go to that post, and then at the upper right corner, there are 3 dots. And I could edit the message, right? So let's say I want to add more instructions. I can add something to it. If something becomes irrelevant or not necessary anymore, I can delete that, okay? Or I could pin a post to the top. So if I click that, the post would just move to the very top of the feed, very similar to what you would see in Facebook. So at this time, I'm going to give us a couple minutes to work on our own in our Sandbox. Again, you're going to be working from your Sandbox with your name on it. We'll give 5 minutes to create an activity feed message. Again, you're going to click that plus sign to add message. And what I want you to do is type a message. So you'll add some text or instructions, and you're going to attach a file from your computer or a web link or link to a video like a YouTube video like I showed. When you post, you will choose whether or not you want students to comment. Again, you're deciding if you want this to be just something students see or if you want students to interact with it, to respond to it. Okay, then you can choose to post now or post later. Once you're done with your post, you're going to respond to your actual post so you know what it looks like. All right, so I'm going to give us 5 minutes of quiet time. During this time, if you need help, you can type your questions into the Q&A box, and one of the panelists will be here to answer. Okay, go ahead.
Phyllis, I see your question. I don't have a Sandbox. Did you sign into your iLearn account?
Okay, so there are a couple questions about how to find the activity feed section. So I'm going to show on my screen. I'm going to go just to the top of the page. So assuming you've already logged in, from the waffle at the top, you're going to click that course selector. And again, you are working from the Sandbox with your name on it. Okay, if you don't have a Sandbox with your name on it, let us know either in the chat or Q&A, and one of the panelists will address that. But you should see something that looks like this. Again, mine was called J-Chun for Sandbox. Okay, and then when you click that, it'll open up this course homepage. Earlier in this session, you looked at announcements, which is at the start of the page, and the activity feed is all the way at the bottom. So you're going to scroll all the way past those announcements to the bottom, and there you find activity feed. It should have that blue plus sign with the option to create post. We have about a minute left in Tinker Time for activity feed. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to let us know in the Q&A box, and one of our panelists will address your question. Alrighty, that was 5 minutes. So no worries if you are still playing around with the features and you have questions. We will definitely be here to support you after this particular session. So I'm just gonna open up the slides again, and we are just about done with this session. Where do I go for help if you still need help? We are here to help you. I will show office hours and resources in just a moment, but we wanted to preview what's going to happen tomorrow and later this week. So now that you've learned the basic communication tools from the course homepage, tomorrow we are going to spend time creating a lesson. We're creating content tomorrow. So we're going to stick with this welcome back to school theme and consider what is something students can do during that first day of class or during the first few days of class. What we want you to do for tomorrow is bring any files you'll need to complete this task of creating a lesson. So something like a curriculum map or a scope and sequence, a unit and lesson plan, something you have on hand so we can work with it tomorrow. Reminder, all the Zoom links are the same for all the sessions. We meet at the same time each day. There were a couple questions about recordings. The sessions are recorded and they will be provided to you. We hope you spend some time today or this week working on creating announcements and activity feed posts. Your sandbox is for you to play around with. If you create things that you like, that you want to use in your actual course, you'll learn later in the week how to copy those into your actual classes. I mentioned we are available for office hours to help you. So if you had any individual questions that weren't yet answered or still having trouble with things, we are here for you for the whole entire month. We have office hours every morning from Tuesday through Friday at 8 a.m. We also have office hours in the afternoon at 3 p.m. all week this week, and then on Fridays. So we will be available for office hours right after this session if you still have your course open and want to ask us right today. On the right side of that slide, you'll see there are other resources you can go to. This was shared with you earlier this morning in the session 0. D2L, which is the maker of these tools, they have a YouTube channel. They have plenty of really great videos and how-to instructions on their website. And someone from iLearn can provide this list of resources to you as well. Also, throughout the year, you'll meet, if you haven't already, other people from iLearn, such as the implementation managers. They'll be able to help you throughout the year. There are some names and contact information here. Some of our implementation managers are on the panelist list now. So if you haven't met them already, you can speak with them or take down their contact information. Okay. We also have all our contact info here, our site, our help desk number, etc. on this page. So we have a few minutes until the end of the session. We are going to leave these last few minutes for any questions. Feel free to type them into the Q&A and one of our panelists will address it. Okay, if you don't have any questions, feel free to visit us during office hours, either later today at 3 or anytime throughout the week. Jen, is there anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think you covered everything. So if you don't have any further questions, we will see you back here tomorrow for our next session. If you do have questions, feel free to stay on and ask them, and we're happy to answer anything and review anything we've gone over.
So Phyllis, I see your question in the Q&A box. The link is the same. So assuming you got in today, it should be, you don't need to register again. It should be, you just click the same link, same Zoom link as the one you clicked on to open this session.
So Phyllis, our time will be the same time as tomorrow. So 1:30 to 2:45.
Does Phyllis have a sandbox? I want to know.
Winnie, I had asked Phyllis what she sees when she signs, if she's signed in first, and when she's signed into iLearn and she clicks on the waffle, what she sees. We were trying to ascertain that earlier. So.
Okay, Henry's on, so Henry can check to see whether she has a sandbox and what her role is.
I feel like I've done this packet
Phyllis, if you
before.
can just type in the chat what your role is in the school, that would help us.
Also, Tanya, I see that you have your hand raised. Let us know if there's a question we can answer for you.
Okay, Phyllis, you should have a sandbox, but Henry, if you're on, can you just check to see whether Phyllis Stiefel has a sandbox? If she doesn't, please create one for her. Phyllis, we also need your email. If you can put that in the chat, your email address. Okay, Phyllis, you do have a sandbox. You need to log in at iLearnNYC. Okay.
So Phyllis, I have my screen still shared, so I'm going to go over that one more time. What you want to do is type iLearnNYC.net. And you're going to scroll to the bottom where it says sign in. When you click sign in, you're going to enter your DOE username, not your whole email, so your username. And then it's going to bring you to a landing page. What you want to do from there is click the waffle at the top, which is the Course Selector. And then you're going to find one that's already here in class, is the one with your name on it.
If you hear about bananas and don't tell them about Kumon. Their children should not show. Probably. You will become zombies from this.
All right, everyone. If you have any further questions, we'll be available during office hours. Have a great day, everybody.
Christian, I'm gonna die, bro.
Thanks, everyone.
Stop doing it. You're turning. Maybe 15 months.
Hey, Jen and Jeannie, I'm sending you a link for debriefing.